So in this video, we're going to be talking about this thing. There we go. So this thing right here is a modular synthesizer, Eurorack modular synthesizer. And you might have seen it on my channel before, but it's a freaking machine. It can make entire songs, or it can just be a crazy powerful synthesizer. And we're going to make some sounds with it. First, I got to clean it up a little bit. That's much better. So the way this thing works is I have a MIDI cable here. So I'm going to be programming everything or playing everything on a keyboard live to this module right here. Oh, that jack's getting loose. That's not good. So basically, if I click some notes on my keyboard, you're going to see this puppy. You can see those lights flashing. And basically that means it's getting information. So basically we want to send this information in the form of note information, which is information that has like a changing voltage corresponding to a note, and trigger or gate information, which corresponds to like this note started and this note let go. So this green cable here is going to the volt per octave thing, and this blue cable here is going to the gate/trigger thing. And that just means that it's telling this module here, I'll zoom in a sec, what the notes are and when the note starts. So at this point we have no way of hearing anything, so I need to get one of these cables and take it from the output of that module and then bring that to the input of something that's going to my computer, in this case. So now we can actually play notes. But I don't really have any control aside from that. I just have some kind of voice, as they call it. Making sounds is not controlled in any way. So this module does actually offer some kind of ADSR or control the envelope of the sound, but I want to use it with an external ADSR. So the way I have to do that is I have to route this thing, this audio source, through a VCA, and then I can use some kind of modulation control to actually change the volume over time of that sound. So I need to get this blue wire here that's sending the trigger information and split it and send it to an envelope. And then I need to get this green one that goes through here, send that to what's called a VCA to control the voltage or the loudness of that sound, and then use the ADSR to control the loudness of that sound. Getting that trigger, sending it to the ADSR, output of the ADSR, going into the control voltage, change the output of this audio source to go into the input, and then take the output of that signal and back into the channel. So now what's happening here is I can actually change the ADSR, so if I click this now, it's very short, and I have the sustain all the way down, so I bring this decay up. So I have some kind of melody, and I'm just going to record some stuff. I'll probably trigger it via MIDI, run it through here, and then bring it back into the box. And that at least covers the melodic aspect. Now, I do also have this this drum thing on here, and if I rig that up real quickly, now I have a little source of drum things. And this is a physical modeling algorithm synthesizer in collaboration with Applied Acoustic Systems to make a whole bunch of physical modeling instruments. But basically, I can just select, if I do load, and I can change to like a gated hi-hat, clear tone, and a snare. Now I can also choose to load that, or go back to my ride, and then I can change the decay and all these parameters of this. until I get the exact sound I want. So this allows you a kind of an easy module to sound design your actual drums in a hardware unit. So now I think I'm going to add some kind of bass element here using this Platts module. Now I don't know what notes these are because I haven't tuned anything. I'll figure that out in the computer, but I just got to wire this up correctly. So that's really all the sounds I need for the purpose of what I'm going to do inside my computer, but I want to show you what you normally do with a modular synth. So I hope I opened your eyes to what modular synths are capable of, at least to a small extent, because people use them to just straight up make like techno music, and they'll bring that to a show, and that's all they'll bring, and they make frickin' like techno music. But this is kind of the more, you know, that was kind of more the unique, crazy sounds which someone like Richard Devine made, but wait to a whole nother level. Like this is just a basic look at what modular synths can do. So at this point, let's dive into the computer. And I'm going to process some of these sounds, and we're just going to see what we can make with them, you know, just to see what can happen. All right, so we're in my computer now, and I'll show you some stuff I did, because I already did some stuff. It's actually the next day. This clip up here is the entire recording of everything in the last video unedited. So, you know, as you saw in the previous clip where I was playing with the modular synth, which is right here, by the way, I was just recording everything live, and I went in and I started chopping things up. Like this was a sample. If I sold this, I think I turned that into like a pad, and then this thing up here I actually chopped and time stretched it to match 105 ppm to make this cool loop. Yeah, so it was a little difficult, and it's still not perfect, but it's, you know, it's got some humanity, which is nice. This section here, I just started cutting out some drums and made some kind of drum kit. So if I show you this, that's just all from Plonk, that the drum synthesizer. And the last thing I took was this bass note. Oh, just a little bit. And then I just, you know, manipulated the heck out of it and turned it into some kind of like sub slash bass thing, which you can hear from this. Now there's plenty of other cool sounds in here. Like at the end I did all this kind of wacky like granular stuff. Either way, point is I have a new modular sample pack that's completely free that's available on genericstudios.com. So I'll put the link in the description for that. It's going to contain this raw audio files you can go through and shop to your delight, and also comes with a bunch of other sounds. 100% free, link in the description. You've already heard a little bit of these songs earlier in the video. Like you might remember this thing if you were paying attention. I think that's the song that I'm using when I pluck all the wires out of my modular synth. And then I have this other song here that I made. And I use that in the intro when I'm doing the whole cinematic thing. So just walk you through a little bit of how these are made. This is the pad thing that I mentioned that I took from the sound. So all I have here is a sampler instrument. inside of Ableton Live, and that just lets me like play. I can click this note here, and I can just play that, you know, on the piano like a synthesizer, and that's all that is. And then this is just an octave up version. So if I play this and then play this, they're just octaved up, and you know, they're different. They're tweaked differently. Like I have erosion and EQ after it, and they're both done a little bit differently. And the octave one has echo and limiter. You know, that was just kind of a trial and error thing. Now this drum rack, as you can see, is just assembled from different areas of this overall big file, but everything is kind of treated the way I normally treat my drums. Even though this is from like a Eurorack thing, it's all treated like a normal set of drums. So the kick, it's very bassy. In hindsight, I kind of wish I got like a clickier kick, but I just decided to roll with it, so I actually boosted the fundamental frequency there, which is what's happening here, and I cut some of the mids like you often do. I tried boosting the highs and it did nothing, so what I did is, if I zoom into the waveform here, originally I had this cut so that this marker, this start marker, started like a little bit before the note, and it sounded too smooth. It just sounded like an 808, so I put it in the middle of the waveform, and that causes a click to happen, which makes it a little more attacky. So I did that, and I boosted the highs, and that brought me to this sound. It just cuts through the mix a little bit. And then after that, I'm doing the soft limiting, soft compression thing, whatever. But then I go on to the bus. So I do some similar stuff with the snare, you know, EQ, and glue compressor, and then I think that's it. The rest are just raw. Let me not do that. Now, in this one, I do have lo-fi stuff going on. So if I solo this, and what I'm using for that is this cool tool called Sketch Cassette, and this is like a cassette emulator. And with this, you know, you pick what type of cassette tape you want, because there are different types of cassette tape, and you can choose the age, which is freaking awesome. Then you can actually go in and control the wow and the flutter. I always mix them up, but I believe wow is like the volume, so like wow, 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 wow. You know, it's the same note, different volume. Flutter is like, it's like kind of oscillating a little bit. So I just didn't touch those. All I did is I set it to a little bit older and boosted the saturation. This plugin's awesome for making that kind of lo-fi type of thing. I'll go to this song here, because this song, I don't like it as much, but it's probably more interesting. So I'll show you what's actually happening. This thing here is just I time stretched an idea to make it loop, you know, relatively seamlessly. And then I shifted around some notes in terms of the timeline to make them snap a little bit better. And that's all it is. So, you know, when I was recording the part on the modular synth, I didn't have any metronome or anything going. All I did is I just went on my keyboard and I just was jamming. And when I was scanning through the audio file, I was like, oh, that sounds cool. And it was relatively close to being on time for like whatever time signature or whatever tempo I was playing at. So I just stretched it, squashed it, and then I found like a couple notes that were off, and then I just snapped them on. And it's still a little imperfect, but it kind of adds to the character of it, I think. Also, just for like the purpose of a video, like I don't go in and like micromanage stuff as much as I do with music, like my own released music. But that's that part. Now this intro part is actually just a quarter tempo version of that. So if I play that, it's actually even cooler. And what I did is I like severely scooped out different elements of this. So it has like no sub, it's got two different mid bands cut out, and it's got like mostly high and a little bit of this kind of low range. It's getting auto panned, it's getting echoed, it's getting limited, and then it's getting going through like mostly wet of a Valhalla vintage verb. So it's like super changed, but it sounds so like spacey and wide and far away, which is what I wanted. So that's that part. The song structure of this little song here is pretty bad, because I think this intro thing should be like its own little ambient song, and this other thing here is its own like driving song. They don't really work together, but that's beside the point. This is just how the things wrote themselves. So this here is the bass, and all this is one of those samples chopped up and dragged into here, and I just play it like a keyboard. So it's kind of the ooh, got a notification. And then back on the bass chain here, I have there's some saturation, I dirtied up, and then some weird EQing. I thought it sounded really thin as I was just playing notes, so I boosted the lows and cut some of this range where this synth thing lives. Like here, they're almost inverses of each other. You can grab this instrument and just flip it upside down and insert it into that one. So those work together. The drums are side chained for this group, so that way the bass doesn't interfere. You know, and that's why things sound relatively clear. Like, and when I say clear, I mean you can hear the bass, you can hear the kick drum, you can hear the snare, you can hear the melodic synth, you can hear the hi-hat, you know. And this was just a very crude, like, 15-minute making the song, not really focused on mixing, just kind of like going and editing things as I make this little song, then quitting that song and going on to the next. So, yeah. And have I been that overexposed this entire time? Why didn't anyone tell me? So originally, when I was going to do this part of the video in the computer, I thought I would just like start from scratch, show you everything, and make something awesome, and show you all these production techniques. And then I just did this on my own, and then I came up with the idea of just giving you the samples. And I think that's more fun, at least for now. So if you click the link in the description, you'll find those samples and more for free. And I would love to hear what you make with them. So if you want to make a song with them, put it on Instagram and tag me at andrew.southworth, and I'll repost them. I'll check them out, and then maybe if people want, I'll do like a full song with these samples, or I'll make more of this type of content or something. So I don't know, just leave a comment telling me what you want to see. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe. I upload videos every single Tuesday and Friday. So see you Tuesday. Bye.